You've geared this book, The Boss of You, to women.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think men could get as much out of it, really.
Yeah, and it's been interesting. At our events, we've actually had about an equal percentage of men showing up and asking very similar questions. But the reason we wrote it specifically for women was based in part on our own experience. And, you know, if you go to the business section of a bookstore these days, it's mostly men on the cover.
Well, true, and you do come from the distaff side, so that's fair.
do.
Yeah. And you write what you know. So branding, marketing your product, marketing the materials, advertising, promotions, public relations, all questions big businesses have. Should we hire a PR person? Do we
Yes.
need to?
Yeah.
When do you make those decisions?
Oh,
Well,
Or how?
It's going to be really different for every company. And with marketing materials and marketing in general, there's so much you can do. It's a big part of our book is to walk you through all of those questions. And it's really just going to be different for everyone. Some people are the best people, especially in small businesses, to be their own PR agent because they know their business really well, especially when they're an entrepreneur. They're so passionate about it. So until you get to the point where you're dealing with the major media networks, often we found small businesses can do that work themselves.
yeah, we're big fans of taking small steps and finding creative ways to do things maybe a little bit differently. So one of the things we did with our business was rather than hire a full-time PR agent, we actually hired we paid a friend of ours who runs her own PR company to come in and coach us on PR and just sort of help us understand what is needed, what we need to do to write a good press release, to get it out to the right people, what's the research involved. And so rather than paying her to do the work for us, we paid her for her time and her expertise to coach us through it so that we could do it ourselves because we felt we were the best people to represent our company.
And any business person would say if you can get free advertising no matter how,
Yes.
get it.
Yeah,
exactly.
You may have to pay for some.
Yeah.
Yes.
But if somebody would do a story on you, if you
Yeah.
give them the angle, there's lots of lazy reporters in town.
Absolutely.
And lots of very
And-
efficient reporters, but there's some lazy people and you give them the story, they'll take it and run.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And we feel the same way about marketing, that, word of mouth marketing is by far the strongest way to get the word out about your business. So, we write a lot about how to get word of mouth marketing and how to leverage it.
Exactly. And it's very important, as you know, it works.
Yes.
Surprise. When to expand a business, when not to, if you are your best employee, or the two of you are, when do you say, oh, we need to hire someone, we need to spend that money?
Yeah, well, for us, it was after our own story, which we cover in the book, is that we were actually, we hired someone way too late. We should have hired somebody probably at least a year, if not 2 years earlier. But really, it's, I think, one of the telltale signs that you need to hire somebody, and what we've heard from a lot of other business women, is that you're just overworked. I mean, often women come to us and they say, so here's my problem, I've got too much work to do, I don't know what to do, I'm burning out, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know, should I hire someone? And it's hard when you're in the thick of it to get outside and say, yes, I need some help, it's time to bring somebody in. But that's a really, really important time to hire somebody. Another great time to hire people is, as Lauren said earlier, when you look at your skill set, figure out what it is that you're really great at and where you may need some assistance, and bring some help in there. And sometimes it's not full-time help. It's a situation like what Lauren described with the PR agent, or it's bringing in a contract worker to help you on a certain job, whatever that might be.
And if you need to fire somebody, that too, but sometimes you have to fire a client.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you have a good piece in here about how to fire a client for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're getting money from them, they're driving you crazy.
Yes, and I think the thing that business people need to look at is, rather than just being completely focused on the revenue that client is going to bring in, you've got to step back and think bigger picture about how that project or that experience is going to affect your business's overall health. Because in the long run, if you're not able to make a client happy, and they're not working for you either, and it's just not a good fit, that client's negative experience can then translate in a negative way. It's word of mouth in a negative way,
Sure.
which can really damage your reputation. So it's about learning to identify the signs of a bad client relationship early, so that you can cut those losses early and clear the way for good work.
Right.
And,
And
good
do you give
projects.
advice in The Boss of You? I think you do, about lawyers and the legal mush and things
Sure.
you need to do properly.
Yes.
And things you need
Accountants
to,
Yeah. in labor law, if you're hiring people, you need to make sure that you understand that. And if it's all too much for you, make sure you find somebody who can help you understand it.
And one of the legal pieces we talk about a lot too is because we're business partners is having a partnership agreement, having that all in writing right from the get-go. You know, I think a lot of friends go into business together, a lot of family members go into business together and think that that's just a formality and they don't really need it. And then a few years down the road when things get dicey,
well, it's no different than being a couple who lives together and having an agreement about who's going to get what if it doesn't work.
Exactly.
And it sounds a little prenuppy.
Yes.
But I think it makes sense. And it's not that I don't love you madly, you say, but guess what? One day we might not. And then
especially when
let's
it's your
just
financial
set out
future.
who does what.
Yeah.
It's like having a will in place too. It's not the most pleasant thing to plan for, but it's you know, eventually the partnership is going to need to dissolve in some form. So, you know, you might as well sort it out early.
Early, when you like each other.
Exactly.
And I don't mean you two won't like each other when you're 85. You may. The eyebrow company may not be still going, but you never know. So the raised eyebrow, I'm sure somebody thought perhaps you were...
Estheticians.
Yes. Do you?
Yes, when we go to networking events, we often get people asking us very personal questions.
Oh, waxing.
Do you think these are a little bushy? Can you do necks? Really? Well, but you know, I was thinking it's very clever. Because people talk about the name of your company.
Exactly.
And I'm sure you thought about that. And
we did.
You're a web studio. You design websites, do that kind of thing. But cleverly, so you think, you know, those girls are clever.
That's what we were hoping.
I'm sure. I'm sure. So the boss of you, everything a woman needs to know to start, run, and maintain her own business. And timing is everything, as you know.
Yes.
So do the math, check the competition.
Yeah.
And you're having fun? You
Very
stay
much
balanced?
fun. Thank you.
Yes.
You celebrate?
Exactly.
You take care of yourselves?
Yeah.
Because that's so important.
It is really
It is very important.
Because
Really.
why else, otherwise, why else are you doing it
I
if
know.
you're not having a good time?
You're not having fun?
Yeah.
Start another company.
That's right.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so
Nice
much.
to meet you. Lauren Bacon and Emira Mears, the boss of you, everything a woman needs to know to start, run, and maintain her own business. Tomorrow, Hollywood gossip columnist and E-Talk correspondent Lainey Louie returns from Cannes with fresh red carpet scoop and the latest celebrity headlines. And our resident coach counselors Lisa de Lusignan and Laura Bradley, who run Fab Love Life workshops, return to tell us more about single in the city situations. And we lounge around on some high design garden furniture and immerse ourselves in fun, edgy stuff with the irrepressible Rupert Grant from Inform Interiors. Thanks for watching Studio 4. There will be lots more on Shaw TV, only on Shaw TV.